Geht das schon in Richtung Verschwörungstheorien? Alter, ein riesiger Berg, in dem untergrundmäßig eine Stadt angelegt ist? Alter, okay, das ist. Jetzt bin ich invested. Wir reagieren auf ein Video von fern. Das ist das zweite Video von denen. Putins versteckter Bunker. Schauen wir uns das mal an. Mal gucken, was passiert.
This is the story of Putin's bunkers. Near the end of March 2022,
Moment. Hat irgendwie die Einstellung wird nicht übernommen. So.
two airplanes did something strange. They both belonged to the Rossiya Special Flight Detachment, a fleet of aircraft directly subordinate to the President of the Russian Federation. In peacetime, these planes flew between Moscow, St. Petersburg, and Sochi, but now they flew differently. Only about a month after the full-scale Russian invasion of Ukraine, RA-61716 visited Yekaterinburg once, and then Ufa twice. The other plane, RA-96017, also flew to Yekaterinburg, and then to Magnitogorsk. Why these two planes would fly to these three cities in the east, right when the invasion of Ukraine had just started, was a bit weird.
Warum? Also ich verstehe gar nicht, warum das weird ist. Die beiden Flugzeuge sind das Putin-Flugzeuge? Ich habe das gerade nicht richtig mitbekommen, von wem die Flugzeuge denn sind.
This was the time when Russia realized that their invasion of Ukraine would not take a week. Something changed. Maybe these flights were part of a new drill and preparation of a much longer war. Or maybe some politicians just had some undisclosed business. But what made it weirder was the location. Right in the middle of all three of these cities is an open secret. Between Ufa, Yekaterinburg, and Magnitogorsk is the highest mountain in the southern Urals, Yamantau. It is also home to what some believe is a bunker the size of a city made for Russia's political elite.
Geht das schon in Richtung Verschwörungstheorien? Alter, ein riesiger Berg, in dem untergrundmäßig eine Stadt angelegt ist? Alter, okay, das ist. Jetzt bin ich invested.
During the Cold War, the Soviets commanded thousands of workers to construct underground bunkers. According to an American nuclear security expert, diagrams and notes provided by senior SAC officers showed that the Yamantau Command Center is located inside of a mountain of rock and quartz, around 900 meters below the summit. It is a military base for the resettlement of the top Russian political leadership. Although we don't know exactly what this bunker looks like, we do know what American bunkers look like.
Alter, das ist ja Fallout, Alter. Fallout Russia Edition. Krass, Alter. Heftig.
If we use schematics of the Cheyenne Mountain complex, we can imagine a command center, fuel storage, water storage, and rooms for combat operations. However, Yamantau is different. Because the mountain is largely made up of quartz, communication is difficult. Quartz can interfere with radio signals. If the massive underground bunker doesn't establish good communication between Russia's political elites and their forces, what else would it be used for? After the Cold War, Yamantau was considered abandoned. The time of infinite communist budgets was over. But Yamantau is special because in the 1990s, US spy satellites picked up that the Russians were working on it again. More than 30 years later, some say construction is ramping up. Next to Yamantau is a town called Mizhgoye. Formed after the merger of two military camps, Mizhgoye is militarily restricted. Not any Russian can get in.
Oha. Also tatsächlich eine russisch-militärisch gebaute Untergrundsiedlung, also eine Untergrundbunker, eine Anlage, die damals angedacht worden war. Also die hat wohl damals schon existiert. Zum Fall der Mauer wurde sie dann verlassen, beziehungsweise das Projekt ist wahrscheinlich irgendwie ins Hintertreffen geraten. Das war gar nicht mehr so wichtig und man hat ja nicht mehr so viel Aufmerksamkeit geschenkt. Und jetzt, nachdem der Angriffskrieg auf die Ukraine in den ersten Wochen nicht so erfolgreich lief, wie sie es gehofft hatten, hat man diese Alternative unter dem Berg in diesem Bunker wieder aufgenommen und hat da geguckt, ob das tatsächlich einen legit Point hat, dass man da wieder drunter kann, im Falle, wenn Ukraine so krass zurückschlägt, dass das Russland dabei eingenommen wird. Was an sich ja schon ein krasser Gedanke ist, den man so hat. Dafür, dass die Russen gesagt haben, dass es super easy wird, die Ukraine innerhalb von wenigen Tagen zu überrennen. Okay, bin ich mal gespannt.
So at the end of April 2021, the locals in Meshgoya were in for a surprise. An Ufa-based newspaper reported that a convoy of at least 19 units of heavy construction vehicles showed up with license plates registered in Moscow. The local mayor's office informed the paper that the vehicles would expand the asset base of Upravlение строительства No. 30. US 30 is contracted specifically for heavy construction projects, including the construction of large-scale underground complexes. They didn't comment on the purpose of the expansion because the projects of US 30 are directly under management of the Ministry of Defense.
Okay. Also keine Baufirma, kein Unternehmen, was irgendwie für den Untergrund und für schwere Bauarten konzipiert ist. Also auch, ja, aber in diesem Fall ganz besonders unter der Leitung des Verteidigungsministeriums steht. Also governmental Facility Structure Sachen, sowas in der Richtung. Also top secret. Zumindest wenn man das jetzt mal auf Russland betrachtet.
In April of 2021, military convoys showed up in Meshgoya, and in April of 2021, the Russians also mobilized thousands near the border of Ukraine. Months later, parts of the presidential fleet flew to cities in the immediate area, seemingly out of nowhere. In early 2021, Navalny published an investigation into a palace on the Black Sea.
Ja, Nawalny, ne? Oppositionsführer der russischen Regierung, der wahrscheinlich von den Russen mit einem Giftanschlag angegriffen worden ist. Der hat sich, glaube ich, im deutschen Krankenhaus wieder erholt und ist zurückgeflogen und seitdem, glaube ich, hat man von ihm nichts mehr gehört, soweit ich weiß. Ich könnte mich da jetzt auch irren, aber wahrscheinlich, unter Verschluss gehalten, wie man es halt kennt, ne?
Funded by public money, it's a hidden mega facility constructed for Putin's private use. Navalny also released diagrams. They reveal a building that's as impressive above ground as it is underground. Located beneath Putin's palace are tunnels and a massive elevator. They're equipped with ventilation and sewage systems, and all the other necessary equipment for fresh water and electricity. The leaked cross-section of the elevator also shows multiple ventilation shafts, which hints that this is no normal elevator. It could very well be that these are backups in case of an attack. Whether these tunnels can withstand a modern nuclear blast is unclear, but the walls are made out of 38 centimeters of concrete. Even more revealing is that they were also constructed by US No. 30, the same organization connected to Yamantau. US 30 answers directly to the MDSP, the main directorate of special programs of the President of the Russian Federation.
Oh.
It is the state body that is tasked with organizing the construction of hardened protective structures, and it is led by one of Putin's most trusted individuals. Alexander Linets was a former regional head of the FSB, the descendant organization of the KGB.
Oh, KGB. Das ist natürlich immer so ein Signalwort, dass man dann sagt, okay, hier sind alte Kameraden, die sich gegenseitig klinken und wahrscheinlich den einen oder anderen Vorteil in die Hand drücken. Aber ich finde es interessant, dass ein Oppositionsführer in Russland an Baupläne kommt für irgendwelche Untergrundgebäude und sowas und das dann, also es ist ja offensichtlich ein Leak, es handelt sich ja um Leak, aber ich finde es halt krass, die Vermutungen, die dadurch direkt entstehen. Also klar, es leitet schon dazu, aber sind diese Baupläne überhaupt bestätigt worden als Official? Ist das klar? Ich finde es immer schwierig, auch Opposition, da will ich Nawalny jetzt überhaupt nicht irgendwie gegenreden oder so. Opposition versucht ja auch mit allen möglichen Mitteln die an der Macht stehende Regierung, konstruktiv zu hinterfragen, beziehungsweise deren Entscheidungen konstruktiv zu hinterfragen. Ich weiß ja nicht, wie sowas dann normalerweise in Russland läuft. Kann jetzt sein, dass es jetzt doch alles False Flags jetzt hier sind, die ich lostrete.
He's been the head of the MDSP since 2015. In 2020, Putin's admiration and trust for Linets was shown through a public income statement that revealed that Linets had moved into a 177 square meter luxury apartment in Moscow.
Ja, läuft bei ihm, Digga.
The Kremlin gives Linets treats because Linets is important. He not only leads the directorate connected to Yamantau and Putin's palace, but his organization is also linked with bunkers directly in Russia's capital.
Also jemand vom Fach.
Next to the State University in Moscow is a barren, underdeveloped piece of land. This is strange. It's prime real estate that's empty, but located right by Moscow's most prestigious university. However, in 2017, under the direct orders of the president, the land started to be partially developed. Katerina Tikhanova is a professional dancer who holds master's degrees in mathematics and physics.
So mache ich das auch morgens immer. Das ist mein Programm, um fit zu werden. Mir fehlt halt nur die Person, mit der ich das mache.
She serves as the head of the Inopraktika Foundation, which is connected to the development of the land in front of Moscow State University. Under her foundation's lead, the land will become an innovative science park for the MSU. She also happens to be Putin's daughter.
Oh,
The land that is
okay.
now being developed by an organization that is partially run by Putin's immediate family is also partially owned by Transistroy, also known as TIS. TIS is a construction company whose board is made up of MDSP members. Its deputy head is a former head of US 30, and TIS can only be contracted by foreign third parties upon approval from the MDSP directly. TIS is also known for constructing underground tunnels. See, this land that is now being developed, in part for Putin's daughter's foundation, is not just any piece of land. It is also rumored to be above an enormous leadership bunker, which is speculated to be around 200 to 300 meters deep and can accommodate 10,000 people. Like Yamantau, the Soviets were also exceptionally creative in constructing vast underground bunker systems in Moscow. The city's current metro system can actually be converted into a bunker for civilian use and house some of Moscow's population for a few days.
Wie ist das denn, als der Prigozhin da den Putsch gemacht hat? Wo waren die denn dann? Sind die dann auch irgendwie runter oder so? Weil es wurde ja auch die ganze Zeit gesagt, dass die jetzt Richtung Moskau jetzt auch fahren. Und man hat auch nichts irgendwie gehört. Alle Leute waren irgendwie verschwunden, bis auf den Lukaschenko. Der ist ja sofort nach Ungarn zurück abgehauen. Obwohl, war es Lukaschenko? Nee, Lukaschenko war doch Dingens, oder? Ja, auf jeden Fall, einer von denen ist halt umgehend zurückgeflogen. Lukaschenko war doch, glaube ich, der im Krankenhaus war, ne? Vermeintlich im Krankenhaus war. Ich glaube, ich mix gerade hier Namen und Orte zusammen. Kann es gerade nicht hundertprozentig sagen.
For example, if you go into the Belaruskaya metro station, you'll go down for a while, eventually bringing you into a deep metro station that can double as a bunker. However, if you're bored and walk around a bit in the station, you'll also eventually encounter a recently renovated statue that pays homage to the Soviet Republic of Belarus. On both sides of that statue are two unsuspecting gray doors, and behind those doors is something else. Initially built for the USSR Ministry of Communication, connected onto the Belaruskaya metro is a massive restricted bunker. It's supposed to be accessible through an external building and can be used as a resilient command post. This bunker is not supposed to be used by any mere civilian, but instead by Russia's military and political class. Now, this bunker is dilapidated and in no state to be used, and these type of constructions aren't actually uncommon. For example, the Ministry of Foreign Affairs also had its own bunker, and there are also declassified images showing even larger designs and schematics for other bunker complexes that could be retrofitted on Moscow's current metro system. However, unlike Belaruskaya and the declassified images that have already been revealed to the public, there are still some underground bunker systems in Moscow that remain highly confidential.
Was aber jetzt nicht großartig besonders ist, wie ich finde, weil in den USA wird es wahrscheinlich genauso sein, dass unterirdische Bunker einfach zum Sicherheitssystem von, ich sag mal, wichtigen politischen Gebäuden zählt. Das wird es vermutlich auch in Deutschland geben. Ich bin ja jetzt kein Experte, ne, aber ich könnte mir selber vorstellen, dass es nicht so verwerflich oder kein großes Ding ist, dass unter politisch wichtigen Gebäuden oder in Infrastrukturen Bunker angelegt sind. Sehe ich jetzt noch nicht so dieses krasse, was, der hat einen geheimen Bunker? Ja, ich denke mir so, ja, natürlich hat er einen geheimen Bunker. Ne? Also, Welches große Staatsoberhaupt von einem wichtigen Land hat das nicht, ne?
On November 17th, 2015, Pavel Safronov, a digger in Moscow, was apprehended by the FSB. Only a year before, Pavel and a few others had wandered around what they believed was the Metro 2 tunnel system for 3 entire days. Metro 2 is rumored to be a secret underground metro that connects the Kremlin with the massive underground bunker complex that is supposedly located right by Moscow State University, the land that is right now being developed. According to the group of diggers, some of the tunnels were hundreds of meters long and 25 meters high, although many were also abandoned and dilapidated. However, Pavel also reported discovering a closed-off entrance that linked to the Kremlin. These diggers' accounts are of course hearsay, and there was no evidence that the tunnels were being used extensively while Pavel had explored it, but it's only after Russia annexed Crimea in late 2014 that Pavel was arrested for leaking state secrets.
Oh.
Take that fact as you will. Now, does this tell us enough about the bunker by the MSU? Honestly, no.
Yeah.
At the end of the day, we don't know what the bunker under Ramenki looks like, nor do we know the extent of all the underground tunnels and bunkers in Moscow. Maybe it's just a pure coincidence that Putin's daughter just happens to now be connected with a pretty large infrastructure project built on top of what is likely a massive leadership bunker, even during a time when the safety for his family is more pressing than ever. But honestly, we have no clue. Putin is a man shrouded in mystery, and so are his and his country's bunkers. For example, located near the Altai Mountains is a compound that is separate from the public. Built by Gazprom as a high-profile retreat, it's also been used by Putin in the past for state visits. On its own, the building doesn't seem like much. Pretty solid house next to a large river, relatively secluded, with only a few additional buildings. What makes Altai unique, however, is this: a transformer station.
Wow.
This isn't a station you use to power a few buildings. This is a station you use to power a small city. This was enough to sound an alarm. A professor in Russia made pretty large claims that some of the president's family is hunkered down in Altai, in some type of extremely advanced bunker unknown to the public. There's no smoke without fire, but bunkers are hard to construct, and they're hard to hide. It's probably unlikely that Putin was able to construct an entire underground city without it being visible to the public. Dirt that comes out of the ground does need to go somewhere else. But in all honesty, be it Altai, Yamantau, his personal palace, or close to Moscow State University, we just don't actually know the extent of the bunkers and how truly interesting they are. It's easy to dream up big ideas of large, advanced underground cities pulled by an unseen, strong political apparatus. But on the other hand, they may just be simple concrete rooms with peeling paint. Like the Russian state, the reality of these bunkers may lie somewhere in the middle, mysterious and real, organized and messy, strong and weak.
Ja, es könnte sein. Also ich sehe das einfach so, dass es wahrscheinlich, also dass es einfach zu Sicherheitskonzepten gehört, dass unter Städten gewissen Gebäuden halt unterirdische Bunker gebaut werden und dass das gar nicht so weit her ist, dass es jetzt irgendwie mysteriös oder krass ist. Ich denke mal, das ist relativ, ungewöhnlich. Relativ gewöhnlich. Und dass hier einfach gesagt wird, okay, man weiß halt nicht so wirklich viel von den Bunkern, dass er zum Beispiel das eine Land, ich denke mal, ein bisschen dadurch deckt, dass er nicht direkt in Verbindung gesetzt wird, sondern eher das zum Projekt seiner Tochter gehört und dass es damit in Verbindung gebracht wird. Das ist vielleicht eine dieser wenigen Verfahren, die man da machen kann, um das einfach ein bisschen based zu halten. Aber an sich ein sehr interessantes Video. Schicke ich euch in den Chat. Gerne mal auschecken. Ganz neuer Kanal. Sehr interessante Themen. Die beiden zum Beispiel, die bis jetzt da waren, super interessant. Und das wär's.